2003. So until 2003, until 10 years ago, people could not cross to the other side of the island. So for about a good couple of decades, there was lack of communication, lack of contact between the two communities. Since the late 1970s, to be more precise, 77 and 79, there were high-level agreements between the two leaders, Turkish Cypriot and Greek Cypriot leaders. They agreed, at least on paper, that the future solution of the Cyprus problem will be, it will be a federation, it will be a federal state, it will be bizonal with regard to territorial aspects, meaning that it will have two zones, each one will be administered by each community, and it will be bi-communal, meaning on a constitutional level, the federal state will be comprised of two communities, meaning that the powers and the functions of the state and the decisions will be taken by these two communities. So, in general, in the last good 35 years, all the negotiations between the two communities, they were conducted for the aim of reaching a solution based on a federation which will be bizonal and bi-communal. Clear? So the basic aim of the intercommunal negotiations would be to establish a federation which will be bizonal and bi-communal. Are we there? No. So this is where we are today. The last round of negotiations between the two communities started in 2008, 5 years ago. Personally, I was also a member of the negotiation team, the Turkish Cypriot negotiation team, for a few months. Usually I don't work for the state. I am a quite, let's say, not a very statist person, let me put it that way. I'm a pretty liberal person, but nonetheless I've been spending a good 20-something years of my life as a peace-building activist. So I thought that I could also contribute. That's why I sort of accepted to become part of the negotiation. The negotiations since then, the two leaders have met more than 100 times without any success. And in the last 5 years, both the Turkish as well as the Greek Cypriot leaders changed by the elections. In 2010, the Turkish Cypriot leader who started the negotiations lost the election, so there is a new Turkish Cypriot leader. And last February, a few months ago, the Greek Cypriots had their presidential election, and now they have a new person. That new person, when he came to power, he came to find a crisis in the southern part of Cyprus. Probably most of you have heard this banking crisis. It still continues. There was a huge bailout plan of more than 10 billion euros that the EU, the Troika, is providing. But at the same time, there is this very bitter policy that they had to also adopt, which is what they call the haircut, or shaving of 40% of the bank accounts of people, which is very bitter, very sort of hard decision. So now the Greek Cypriot leader is sort of dragging his feet to start the negotiations, because the negotiations negotiations sort of came to a stop about a year ago. There is an expectation that in October, a few months from now, new round of negotiations will start. So that's where we are now today. What is more complicating the situation is, in the southern shores of Cyprus, in the Mediterranean, there have been new discoveries of hydrocarbon resources, meaning natural gas. So that is also complicating the situation. It is increasing the tension in the Eastern Mediterranean. In these explorations, Israel is also involved, or an Israeli company, an American company is also involved. So the tension this time between Israel, Turkey, Cyprus, things are getting a bit tense in the region. Lebanon is another actor who has also natural gas fields in the similar region, Eastern Mediterranean. Syria is another actor which is sort of burning to ground nowadays, right? It has also natural gas deposits in its own economic exclusive zone. But there are also problems, Egypt, another one. But there are also problems between and among these countries when it comes to the EEZ, meaning the economic exclusive zones, where you have the right to drill and explore and exploit natural resources. So Cyprus itself is not, let's say, an ethnic conflict, but it is an international conflict with international dimensions, and it is becoming more and more internationally involved. Part of the island is an EU member. The other part, this part, is both in the EU and also outside EU. Geographically, we are in the European Union, but the EU laws are suspended here until a solution. So as you see, there are very complicated aspects of the Cyprus problem. It is not a Cyprus problem by its own anymore. With the oil and whatnot, with the EU membership, with problems between EU and NATO because of the Cyprus problem. As you know, Turkey is a member of NATO but not the EU. But the Greek Cypriot Republic of Cyprus is a member of EU but not NATO. And because of this situation, NATO and EU cannot have an institutional communication. Can you believe that? All these are creating problems. And I hope, personally, that in the future, all these small problems, international problems, can help to solve the Cyprus problem. Nonetheless, I'm going to turn your attention now for 5 minutes to what people think on the ground, what Turkish Cypriots and Greek Cypriots think about the Cyprus problem, because it is important, because at the end of the day, if the two leaders manage to establish a federation or to reach a solution, that solution will be put to referenda in Cyprus, meaning people are going to vote. 9 years ago, in 2004, there was a peace plan, UN peace plan, which was called Annan Plan. Remember the name Annan, which took it from the former UN Secretary General Kofi Annan? That plan was put to referenda in 2004, while 65% of Turkish Cypriots accepted it. The plan was rejected by 76% of the Greek Cypriots. Now, similarly, if we reach another peace plan, let's say in the next 1 or 2 years, it will be voted by the two sides, by the people. So what people think about Cyprus problem is important, because at the end of the day, there will be separate referendums on both sides of the island. Now, what do people think? Now, we asked people, by the way, blue is Greek Cypriots, and red is Turkish Cypriots. We asked people, this is a public opinion poll that we have conducted on both sides of the island. I am also part of this bi-communal research group called Cyprus 2015. We have been doing research on both sides of the island. This is from a public opinion poll that we have conducted. We asked people, if there is a referendum tomorrow, if there is a peace plan, how will you vote? And as you see here, this is the people who are saying that I would probably vote no. So as you see, 31% of Greek Cypriots, almost 1/3 of Greek Cypriots are going to vote no, no matter what the plan is. This population is by and large against sharing power with the other community, sharing power with the Turkish Cypriots. All right? No matter what type of plan, they are going to vote no. Now, this extreme is people who are saying that we will probably vote yes. These are mostly people like myself, which sometimes we are calling ourselves like the peaceniks, right? People who are sort of devoted to peace. A good 1/4 of Turkish Cypriots, 24%, are saying that definitely we are voting yes, even without seeing the plan. So here we are. But look at it. Majority of the people are in the middle, undecided. So is this a good news or bad news?
Good.
Huh?
Good news.
Good.
How so?
Because it depends on the plan. If the plan is good, they're gonna vote yes.
Who decides whether the plan is good or not?
People.
Now, this, I think, I would like to interpret this as good news, or at least good enough news. The thing is, if you have the correct leadership on both sides, the leaders can work with this population here to move people towards this, right? So it takes the leadership, right? Now, the word leader, remember, leader comes from the word lead. Somebody who's not standing behind the people, but somebody who's at the front and sort of pulling people. That's what we call a leader. Now, in 2004, in the Greek Cypriot side, there was a leader who, about several days before the referendum, he was on the TV crying. This 70-something-year-old guy crying, telling his people to vote no to the plan in 2004. He was telling the people that now we have a state of our own, right? The Republic of Cyprus since 1963. Physically, it is a Greek Cypriot republic, right? Internationally recognized. He was saying that if we say yes to the plan, we are going to lose our state, and we have to share power with the Turkish Cypriots in the new state. So, don't do it. In his own words, he said, give a resounding no, a strong no to this plan. And that's what the Greek Cypriots did. That's why the plan was rejected by 76% of the people. And my point is, if you have the correct leader, he or she can mobilize these people towards saying yes. but it takes leadership, the correct leadership. Now, this is also a famous slide that we use a lot in our presentations. Let's start with the lower part. By the way, whenever you see orange, that's not good news. All right? Now we ask people, do you have any hope that the Cyprus problem will be resolved in a comprehensive solution? 65% of Greek Cypriots says, no, I have no hope. And 69% of Turkish Cypriots say, I don't have any hope. People in the middle here, 25% Greek Cypriots, 19% Turkish Cypriots, they say, I don't know, I don't have any idea on what. Only 10% of Greek Cypriots and 4% of Turkish Cypriots say that they have hope that the problem will be resolved in a comprehensive solution. And I don't know what these 10, 15, whatever, 12% people smoke or drink, but they have hope. But joke aside, of course, you know, I already told you that the intercommunal negotiations to solve the Cyprus problem, they started in 1968. It's been 45 years. They started the year I was born. And we became big boys, and the problem is still unresolved. So how can you expect people to have hopes? So this is, my point is that this is understandable, that people lost hope. But we ask a different question. We ask, but do you like the idea that the Cyprus problem should be resolved with a comprehensive solution? Do you desire? And then, you know, as you see here, majority, 68% Greek Cypriots, 65% of Turkish Cypriots are saying that, yes, we want Cyprus problem to be solved with a comprehensive solution. Which is good, that people still want the solution to the Cyprus problem, which, in a way, this legitimizes the ongoing negotiations. Now, we tested different models of solution to Cyprus problem. The model that the UN has been trying is bizonal bicommunal federation since 1970s. This is the Greek Cypriots, by the way. As you see, the first choice of Greek Cypriots as a solution to the Cyprus problem is a unitary state, almost like a nation state, where they would be the majority and the Turkish Cypriots will be the minority. A federal solution is their second choice. We tested other models like continuation of the current situation, or two separate and internationally recognized states, or confederation of two sovereign states in Cyprus. As you see, the last three were rejected by the majority of Greek Cypriots. And you see the orange, those are the rejections. So this slide tells us that the first choice for a solution to the Cyprus problem of the Greek Cypriots is a unitary state. And a federation, which we are trying in the last 30-something years to find, is their second choice. Their second choice was rejected by 19% of people, but the rest, they find this either tolerable if necessary, satisfactory, highly desirable, or absolutely essential. So that means that this can be sold to people. Similarly, Turkish Cypriots, their first choice is two separately internationally recognized states. And a bizonal bicommunal federation is their second choice. So when you read these two slides, what do you understand? You understand that? Go on.
Greek Cypriots wants unitary state.
as a first choice, as a first preference. Okay. What about the other alternatives? The only alternative that match, that overlaps, is what? Exactly. So these two slides tells us that if we want to solve the Cyprus problem through negotiations and then put the plan to simultaneous separate referendum, the only alternative that has the chance to pass from both sides is what? It's a bizonal bicommunal federation. Because if you look at the other choices, it will be rejected by either both or at least one side of the island. Still, the only alternative that has the chance to be accepted by people is a federal solution in Cyprus. But unfortunately, it's not the first choice of either side. It is the second choice of either side, of both sides. Okay, if we have tested many other aspects of the Cyprus problem, so if you are interested, this is our website. If you want to go to get further information, you can find all our public opinion poll results, as well as 2 documentaries that we have produced and 2 reports on Cyprus issue in this website. Now, I'll take only 5 more minutes of your time, and then I'll open it up for question and answers if you want. I'll try to provoke you a little bit. We know the priorities of the 2 sides now. That the Greek Cypriots prefer a unitary state and the Turkish Cypriots prefer a 2-state solution. But suppose that all these external factors like oil and natural gas and whatnot, somehow the 2 sides were encouraged, again, similar to 2004, and a peace plan is reached. And let's say the peace plan was accepted by 2 sides in a referendum, let's say in 2014. I call that scenario Belgianization of Cyprus. I coined the term Belgianization. And sometimes people tell me, Professor, you got it wrong, because Belgium is not a good example. I said, no, I didn't get it wrong. I got it right. Precisely I got it right, because Belgium, I know that it is a problematic case. See Belgium, heard about Belgium, the Belgian model. Belgium is by and large divided into 2 parts. In the north you have the Dutch-speaking Flemish, and in the south you have the French-speaking Walloons, right? They don't particularly love one another. And remember about 2 years ago or something, there was this crisis that they have. After the elections, more than 400 days, they couldn't establish a government. They couldn't establish a government for more than 400 days, more than a year. Right? So it's not a smoothly functioning federation. And why am I telling you this? Because then I asked the question, yes, the Belgians couldn't establish a government for more than 400 days, then what happened to Belgium? Is the question, what happened to Belgium? I think the answer is very important. What happened to Belgium? Nothing. Not a freaking thing. Isn't that great? these two communities, ethnic groups, whatever, they have their problems, but they don't kill one another because of their problems. This is what I wish for Cyprus by.